Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look on this image. What would you do if you were this man? We have this man, the father, the wife, and the son. The father represents the past because this is where this man came from. The wife represents the present because this is the person who takes care of this person, of this man, presently. And the future is represented by the son because this is the person who will take over and proceed with the generation of this man in the future. Who would you save first if you had this chance to save either one of them or all of them, but one at a time? This man chose to start with the father. So some people see this and think, or rather argue, that this man took the wrong choice. And they say this because they say that this is the past, the father represents the past, yet you are living with the present. Why would you why would you be so interested with what you went through in the past? Or why would you take so much attention with your past and forget about your present and your future? Ladies and gentlemen, is it possible that we are so held together and we are so tied to the past that we cannot afford to forget that past, that we can sacrifice the present and the future to take care of the past? I don't know what you think. Well, some other thought that the man should have started with the son, because looking at this image, the son was held by the father. The son was held by the mother, and the mother was attempting to give the son to the father so that he could save the son first. But then the father decided to ignore this and went ahead and went for the father. So was it important that he could start with the future, start saving the son, and then end with any one of them? Or what would be the best approach to this? If he starts if he saves the son, then he saves the future. And therefore he has to forget about the present and the past. He has to forget about what he's going through today or what he has gone through over his life in the past, and therefore take concern with the future. Ladies and gentlemen, should we ignore the present and ignore the past in what we are going through and save the future? Is the future so important than today and the past? That's a question we must ask yourselves. Others argue that it was important for the man to save the woman first because living in the present, the woman could, without problem, give birth to another son, and that son would replace this son who we might lose. As a matter of fact, many argue that if we saved the woman first, then the woman would give birth to a son, and this son will be named after this man who has drowned and probably died. So therefore, saving the present takes care of the future and the past. Ladies and gentlemen, was this man supposed to save the present and just forget about the future and the past? This is a dilemma that each one of us faces each and every day. And how we approach this depends on what we are going through and what we think about our past, our present, and our future. It is up to you. It is in your hands to decide where to start with. When they asked me why this man had decided to start with the father, I simply replied that maybe the past life of this man, under the hands of this man, the father, maybe there was something that was so difficult that this man went through. that was it not for the sacrifice that this man, this father, took to raise this man, maybe he could not be living. So to pay that back, maybe that is why he decided to save the father first. That also, understanding that will depend on how you understand, how you see this photo and how you perceive it. At the same time, when you stop all these analysis and you stop all these considerations and look at the photo as it is, the woman is hanging on something, and the woman is already holding the son. So there is no way, if this woman takes sacrifice and just spends some more time sacrifices the pain that is going through by lifting the son and holding to that whatever he's holding on, maybe the man could succeed to save the father and then save the family. I think so. When you look at this photo or this image, you realize that the man is almost drowning. The man is almost dying. If he just takes any more time, this man will drown and will probably die. By the time he saves the two of them, the mother and the son, this man should have been dead or could have been dead. Maybe he looked at time. Maybe he had the time to save the father, because the wife and the son are already held on something and they can at least have something to depend on, to save on their lives. But the father was drowning. I don't know how you approach that. Your past is going off, whether good or bad, it is dying, and your present is holding on something, and your future is holding on your present to determine how it will go through. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you take about what's your take about this image and how you interpret this painting is purely dependent on your understanding, on your priorities. And each one of those priorities are right. The only difference between your priorities on who to save on this image, the only difference is what we will lose. If you choose the future, you lose the present and the past. If you choose the present, you lose your future and you lose your past. If you choose your past, you lose your present and you lose your future. Choose yourself whatever you want based on what you take as your best priority.